Hi, I'm Brian with Level Up Reptiles, and today we're going to be talking about the three main things you really need for a ball python to thrive. Um, so this video is going to be kind of over if you're thinking about getting a ball python, if you just got a new ball python, or you're having a little bit of troubles with the ball python that you currently have. I'm going to give out the three main things that I think that needs to happen for a ball python to really thrive. And along for the ride, he's kind of all over the place, but here's our black pastel clown. He's had ultra male. He's going to be breeding for us this fall. He's everywhere. There he is. He's on the move. But, yeah. He's really neat. But anyways, three things. We're going to start with the first thing is heat. You want the heat to be right in the enclosure that you have them in. We keep it around 88 to 90 degrees on the hot spot. The cool side gets around, I'd say 78 to 80. That's really where you want to be at, between the hot and cool sides. No matter which way you want to heat. No matter if that's with radiant heat panel, with bulbs, heat emitters. Heat emitters are probably really the best, unless you got a PVC, and then it's radiant heat panels after that. I don't really recommend lights kind of whatsoever. But with that heat source, you definitely need to have a thermostat. I think too many people overlook a thermostat, because if you browse around on Facebook and a lot of Facebook groups, there's just a ton of pictures of people burning snakes simply by just not having a thermostat. And I'm not saying you have to have the most expensive thermostat there is, but you do need one. When I first started out, I think I got a thermostat for like 20 bucks on Amazon. It's probably not the best thermostat in the world, but it does work for the time being until you can maybe purchase a little bit better one. That's kind of all I'm going to go into for heating, but that's one of the main components to keeping these guys happy, and really to get them to eat. When you first get a ball python, your first objective over anything is to get it to eat. And I recommend after you get it, wait about a week and then try feeding it. As long as all your parameters and everything that we're talking about here today is right, then it should eat. I wouldn't recommend handling them or anything until you get them to eat their first meal. But going into the second point, and that is humidity. Humidity is a big part to get them to shed right. Not only to shed right, they'll eat correct if they got their humidity right. Now, if you go by the big box stores like PetSmart and go by their care guides, they're going to tell you humidity needs to be around 50%. That is too low. I keep everything in here between 65 and 70%, and it'll even get bumped up to 80% once I see them going into shed. But that works out about great. I have no feeding issues, have no shedding issues, more importantly. But you gotta, no matter if that's wetting the substrate, I'll put a link in here. I do have another video on how to go about getting humidity in the enclosure. But you do either need to add water, and that doesn't mean spray water. It means actually putting water in the substrate and mixing it around. And then in the winter, summer I don't have as much of an issue. Wintertime I do. I mean, we're here in Indiana, so winter, if I didn't have, wasn't doing something with humidity, it would be 20% humidity in here. So on top of putting water in the tubs and wetting down the substrate, I I also have a humidifier in here. Now, I'm not saying you have to go get a humidifier for if you only have one as a pet. You can just keep wetting the substrate. I just keep the humidifier in here because then I don't have to do it as often. Um, but I would say if you didn't have one, I'd say at least every probably 2 days, you'll probably need to re-put water in the substrate to keep the humidity about where you need it at. Um, Now, the third component that I'm going to talk about is stress. Uh, these things stress out relatively easy. Um, so you want to have your heat right. That'll lower the stress level. Humidity right. That'll keep the stress down. And then clutter. You do in your enclosures, if you have a lot of room in there, especially for a baby, you need to put as much clutter in there as possible. Places for them to hide, and plants, fake plants. Really doesn't matter, just as long as there's a lot of stuff in there that they can hide. Because they do like to hide most of the time. The only times you'll ever really see them out is probably at night. Most people say that, a hidden ball python is a happy ball python. For the most part, that's really true. They're not really wanting to be out and about. Really. So, yeah, stress is a big part. If they're stressed out, they're not going to eat. You're going to have trouble to get them to eat. But those are the three main things, to get that you really need to narrow down when you have a ball python. Those are the three main things. And if you do all those three things correct, you'll see these things thrive. One caveat I want to kind of go into is stress. So if a ball python's stressed, there's a chance they could be really bitey, especially hatchlings. And as a new caper, that's not the kind of snake you want. You don't want something that's gonna be snapping at you every time you go pick it up, just mainly because it's stressed. And that could be temperature related, humidity related, or just stress related. Maybe you don't got enough clutter in there. It doesn't feel secure in that enclosure. But there is a caveat to that. I've got one like that as a ball python I picked up a few months ago. We're working on her, but some ball pythons are just bitey. They are. That's just kind of part of their nature. It sucks if you get your first ball python and it ends up kind of being bitey no matter what you do. It does happen. You have to really work with it. The girl we got, we really do work with her quite a bit. We've had her for about 3 months now. She's not near as bad as she used to be, but you put your hand out there, she's gonna get it. Actually, let me get her out and see how she does. All right, here she is. She's all balled up. She's like I said, we're working on her. She's starting to get a little bit curious. Used to be just to get her out of her closure, like she's snapping at you. That ain't the case here. She's still kind of stiff. She's still really unsure. We are working on her. She is our spot nose ultra male that we got from Brock Wagner Tinley a few months ago. I really want her to be really handleable, and we're working on her. She's going to be one of our future breeder girls for that ultra male Pompeii project we're kind of working on. I just wish her personality was, a little better. So, like I said, not all ball pythons are, well, let me rephrase that. Most ball pythons are very handleable for the most part, as long as you get those certain things right, which is the heat, humidity, and the stress. This girl's not stressed. She's got heat. Her humidity's right. Her attitude just sucks. And, she's really defensive. I've got one adult. She's pretty defensive as well. But I've tried to get that out of her. And a lot of times, she's a lot better. Is it perfect? No. With this snake, I recommend for somebody first time ever having a ball python, not a chance. Um, but like I said, it is what it is. First time, like when we have hatchlings here, I do as much as I possibly can to keep keep the hatchlings tamed down. For the most part, they come out of the egg that way. But there's some, we handle them. We handle them probably once a week, twice a week, between me and my daughter, and they do really well that way. If I do happen to have a hatchling that's just really defensive, I'm gonna let whoever buys it know that. And if it's a first time buyer, I'm probably straight tell them that this ball python may not be for you, and it's helping them. It makes it to where the first time you have a ball python, you don't want it to be a bad experience, especially if you get a bitey snake right off the rip. And that's going to make them, one, not want the snake, and two, not really want to get any more, if that makes any sense. But that's kind of all I got. Remember, if you're first time getting a ball python, thinking about getting a ball python, having a little troubles with the one you have, hey, if that helped you in any way, please like, share, subscribe. We would really appreciate it. I know most of you watching these videos aren't subscribed, so it helps us out a lot if you are, and that way we can continue making these cool videos. And plus, you kind of got to see what our progress is, what we're doing over here. But anyways, have a good one. Happy 4th of July. Have a good weekend.